Okay, let's cut right to the chase. This isn't a theory session, it's a tactical briefing. Because when conflict blows up on your team, you don't have time to think. You need a protocol, and this is it. So, picture this. You're on the floor, and two of your absolute stars are in a full-blown public argument. We're talking raised voices, the whole team watching. What do? Do you jump in right now, or do you back off and let them cool off? Well, let me make this incredibly simple for you. There's only one right answer. Letting them cool off isn't just a bad idea, it's a massive operational failure. It's going to cost you momentum, it's going to kill morale, and it'll wreck your team's focus. Your intervention, it's not optional, it's mandatory, and it has to happen now. All right, so before we get into the how, the actual steps you're going to take, you've got to understand the why. You can't win the engagement if you don't know the battlefield. And right now, the battlefield is what's happening inside your team members' heads. And I'm not talking about feelings here, this is pure biology. Look, when someone on your team feels threatened, and that could be anything from a perceived insult to someone questioning their work, to feeling like they've been treated unfairly, their brain literally can't tell the difference between that and a tiger jumping out of the bushes. It's true. This primitive part of the brain, what we call the reptile brain, it just takes over. And its only job is survival. So all that stuff you need, logic, reason, collaboration, poof, it's gone. That part of the brain is completely offline. They are not in the driver's seat anymore. Okay, so here's your first red flag. You hear something like this. Notice the language. It's not, hey, I think we have a communication breakdown. No, it's he's deliberately ignoring me. The second you hear that, you know it's shifted. It's not about the work anymore, it's personal. And that perception of a personal attack, that's the first tripwire for the reptile brain. And then it escalates. Now it's not just a personal insult. This is an attack on their status, on their contribution, on their value to the team. This is about perceived injustice. The threat level just went from yellow to orange. And this is the final stage. The moment you hear these words, it's game over for rational debate. A line has been crossed. This is just a pure, raw, emotional reaction. It's fight or flight, plain and simple. The reptile brain isn't just in the room anymore, it's running the entire show. So what's actually happening here biologically? Well, each one of those escalating threats is dumping a flood of the stress hormone, cortisol, into their system. And when cortisol levels get this high, it literally flips a switch and shuts down the prefrontal cortex. You know, the part of the brain that handles logic, planning, problem solving. We call this the prefrontal reset. And once that reset happens, your employee is biologically, physically incapable of having a rational conversation. So asking them to cool off on their own, it's like taking your hands off the steering wheel on the highway and just hoping the car finds the right exit. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so you get the why. Now let's get to the how. And let me be perfectly clear. These aren't suggestions. This isn't a list of helpful tips. This is your operational procedure. It's direct, it's non-negotiable, and it absolutely works. Here we go. Let's run through the protocol. Step 1, the second you see it, you stop it. Immediately, no hesitation. Step 2, you assemble everyone involved and move them to a neutral private space, a conference room, an empty office, whatever. Just get them off the main floor. You never ever have this talk at someone's desk. Step 3, you lay down the rules of engagement. You look them in the eye and say, our goal here is not to play judge and figure out who is right or wrong. Our goal is to find a solution so we can all get back to work. Step 4, you are the mediator, not the judge. That means each person gets to have their say, completely uninterrupted, and your job is to enforce that rule, period. And step 5, this is the big one. This meeting does not end, I repeat, does not end until you have concrete next actions. Who does what and by when. It has to be crystal clear and everyone has to agree to it before you walk out that door. Okay, now listen up because this is a really critical point. The advice you hear for handling arguments at home, it is absolutely dangerously wrong to use it at work. The rules of engagement are completely different, and you have to understand why. You know that common advice for family squabbles? Wait 15 days to bring up a criticism so everyone can cool down. That makes sense when your primary goal is preserving a personal relationship for the long haul. But at work, your primary goal is operational effectiveness. The mission, the deadlines, that's what's at stake. A public conflict on your team isn't a minor disagreement. It's a fire in the server room. You don't wait 15 days, you don't even wait 15 minutes. You act immediately to put out the fire, contain the damage, and get the system back online. So, the fire is out, the team's back to work. You'd think your job is done, right? Wrong. The best leaders, the best operators, they always debrief.
They constantly work on getting better, and that starts with an honest after-action report with yourself.
And here's your checklist. And you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Did you intervene at the very first sign of trouble? Did you stay neutral like a mediator, or did you slip into being a judge? Was the resolution crystal clear with actionable steps? Does every single person know exactly what they need to do next? And here's the bottom line, the real measure of success. Is your team now fully refocused on the mission? This isn't to impress anyone else. This is for you. This is how you sharpen your skills.
All right, if you forget everything else we've talked about, I want you to remember this one thing. This is the core principle. This is your mandate.
This is it right here. The entire protocol in just 7 words. Your job is simple. Neutralize the conflict, restore the team, and act now. Not tomorrow, not after your next meeting, now. That's the job. Get it done.